Look, I've got some bad news for you. Sit down, I'll pour you a drink. So we're going to go through 3 popular reef fish that are sure to disappoint you after you bring them home excitedly from that store for your reef tank. But don't worry, I've got a couple of other suggestions about how to get the most out of those fish, or at least find an alternative that might suit you a little bit better. Cheers. And the first fish that's sure to disappoint you is the blue-green chromis. The blue-green chromis. The hobby's answer to the schooling fish, which is so common in the freshwater side of the hobby. But unfortunately, the blue-green chromis has a sinister side, and true to its family's reputation, is actually, well, it's actually a bit of a bully. These dainty little blue beauties pick themselves off one by one until only one individual is left. And then a school can't be a school with just only one fish. It's hardly an image of small colourful fishes swimming en masse over the coral reef when it's just one blue bully hanging out by the bubble coral. But before we go any further, can we discuss the true concept of a school versus a shoal? Because I must admit, this does give me the pet peeves once in a while. So to put it simply, fish that hang out together in groups and then have the benefit of easily finding dates and avoiding predation when on those dates are shoaling. Think surgeonfish such as convict tangs and powder blue tangs, anthias, and our much loved blue-green chromis. Now when those fish happen to swim in unison at the same speed and change direction at the same time, well, those fish are said to be schooling. So probably the closest the hobby gets to schooling fish will be things like monos and bullseyes, snappers and cardinal fish. And a fish which I think is just waiting for the spotlight, which are the fusiliers. And for the life of me, I can't imagine why Andrew Sadler and Polo Reef haven't got fusiliers gracing his giant tank already. But I digress. What can we actually do to keep a shoal of blue-green chromis successfully and peacefully in our reef aquariums? So in my experience, it all starts with the 3 F's. A busy fish is an occupied fish. And what better way to keep a potentially murderous chromis busy than by making it swim? And I mean flow. This is my Castle Surge device discharging in an old reef tank that housed a shoal of spawning blue-green chromis. And this barreling surge of 200 litres occurred every 3 minutes in this tank. The same can be achieved with today's wave makers. However, LPS keepers, take note. This may preclude you from keeping a shoal, a successful shoal, a peaceful shoal of blue-green chromis in your tank. And the second on our list of F's is food. Because as we all know from celebrating Christmas, well, we're much less inclined to bicker with our loved ones when we've got a belly full of food. Now I've experienced great results feeding my chromis 8 times a day. And because most auto feeders only feed between 4 and 6 times a day, well, that's the reason why we need 2 auto feeders. I like to load those auto feeders up with a very, very small pellet, usually like a 0.5 of a millimeter pellet. And that way the chromis had to spend a lot of time tracking down those tiny food particles amongst all that barreling surge. Now, just like that classic song, that's what friends are for. The last of our F's is friends. And one of the best ways to keep a peaceful tank of chromis is by having a lot of chromisy friends. That's right. Start to get out your credit card, not your pocket change, because starting with a group of at least 10 chromis will be the best step in getting you a cohesive group of chromisy friends. And this will keep that potentially chromis bully from targeting any one of its chromisy friends at any one time. But of course, I believe that better results will be achieved by choosing 20, 30, 50 chromis. The sky's the limit. Actually no, it's my wife, closely followed by the bank balance, that's actually the limit here. So what does this mean if you keep a small to medium-sized reef tank, say maybe 5 foot and under? Does this preclude you from keeping chromis? Well, kind of. Unless, of course, you just want to have that one chromis bully hanging out by the bubble coral. So aptasia has got to be one of the biggest pains in our reef keeping butts. So it's no wonder when a new fish comes along that will potentially control aptasia that, well, we all get excited and jump on the bandwagon. That is until we find that the fish gets ugly and eats all our corals. So at first the script sounds appealing. Stripies, as their name suggests, are black and yellow, boldly striped fish, benign and bulletproof, tolerant of our aquariums and the tickle of Aptasia tentacles as they go down their throats. They stick to themselves as they poke around our tanks, not bothering anyone, but well able to compete for food with the big guys. There's always a but. The stripey's desire to devour and decimate Aptasia seems to coincide with a very narrow window in their growth. They're too small, they're not interested. They're too big, well, they're also not interested. But about 5 centimeters or 2 inches long, well, it's just right. And that's fantastic, but for the fact that stripies grow incredibly fast out of their Aptasia eating phase and into their, well, I'm gonna sample all your wobbly and stony SBS corals in your aquarium stage. Now, I found they've had a particular liking to Micromusa, but I wouldn't put it past them to have a sample on any of your benign LPS corals, such as Blastomusa or Duncans. Now, that's not all. You're about to be, well, further disappointed. Stripies will not only devour your benign LPS corals, but they turn from being a bold and beautiful yellow and black striped fish into a beigey, yellowy, grey, at the best, striped fish. Unfortunately, like many other bold fish species such as the blue and yellow striped Casimiro snapper, their coloration quite rapidly fades in our aquariums. And for those that love that blue reef tank lighting, well, as we all know, yellow fish look terrible under blue lighting. And this is what buns me the absolute most. I see stripies really commonly around the reefs of Coffs Harbour, New South Wales, Australia. And in great big shoals, they are absolutely beautiful. But we can't seem to maintain that brilliant yellow and black coloration in our aquariums. I almost forgot. Please save yourself the disappointment. Not only are these fish turn faded and beige and benign looking, and sample your LPS corals, but they're going to cost you a fortune in the meantime. I can't believe that in Australia this fish costs almost like $65, and in the US up to $165 for a fish that's well stranded by the hundreds at low tide in rock pools. Alright, so I can see you're getting quite disappointed by this sad, sorry story, but yet I haven't quite finished. And I must admit, I thought long and hard about what would be, well, the final fish to surely disappoint on my list of disappointments. Would it be the Femininus wrasse, costing us a week's wage only to jump through the smallest opening in our screen top? Or the somehow ever popular Ocellaris clownfish, wallowing in the one tentacular spot of the aquarium all day, every day? Just do something. Just something. But I digress. For the last of my chosen reef fishy disappointments, now I've chosen the snowflake moray eel. And I love moray eels, and I do keep a snowflake moray eel. But if you want to know why the snowflake moray is only second to the zebra moray as the biggest eely disappointment in your reef aquarium, then this is the video that you should watch next. And it will also give you a much better eely alternative. Are you going to finish this?